We're going to talk about minimum security requirements on a rental property. It's really important to make sure that your rental property is compliant in order to make sure that your tenant is safe and the property is compliant in line with the legislation. So the first place to start is with your entrance door of the property. Now your entrance door, if you do not have a security screen, must have a deadlock. The deadlock can be built into the lock and handle itself, particularly in the newer houses, or you may find in older houses that you'll need to retrofit a deadlock. Provided that there's a deadlock on the front door, this then makes your property compliant in line with the Australian standards. Now, if you have a security door on your front door, then as long as there is 3 points of contact on that security door, that's 3 points where it locks into the frame, that alone is enough to make your front door compliant. So if you have a 3-point contact security door, there is no need for a deadbolt on the front door itself. If you don't have a security screen or you have an older style one that only has 1 point of contact in the middle where the lock is, you must have a deadlock installed on the front door itself. Now the front door, as I mentioned, it may have the lock mechanism already built into it, the deadlock. If it doesn't, you can retrofit one, and this is enough to meet the minimum security requirements. So that's the front entrance door covered, and I'm now just going to show you a quick video of what a compliant security screen door looks like, so you can see the 3 points of contact that I'm talking about on a security screen door. Okay, so now that you've seen the security screen door, just to reiterate, your security screen door must have 3 points of contact to meet this minimum security requirements as a standalone if you have a front door without a deadlock. If you don't have a security screen door, your front door must have a deadlock either built into it or retrofitted afterwards. You can look at the compliance legislation for more specific details on what type of deadlock is required. So that's the main entrance covered. Now, what about all the other doors in your property? Obviously, you can access, in Australia, we have front doors, laundry doors, side doors in a lot of properties. So it's a bit different in other countries and areas where there's a lot of apartment living. So in Australia and in WA particularly, you need to make sure that your other doors that access the property have a deadlock or a patio bolt. Either or, make sure that it meets the minimum requirements. Now the same rule applies if you have a security screen that has 3 points of contact. That overrules the need to have a deadlock or a deadbolt on those external doors. So you either need to have that security door that's got 3 points of contact on it, or alternatively, if you just have a standard security door or a standard fly screen door, you need to make sure that that external door has a deadlock or a deadbolt on it. Okay, so that's the external doors covered. Now we're going to move on to windows. So windows in a property, again like doors, if you have a security screen fitted to the window, there is no requirement to have a lock fitted to your window. The security screen alone is enough to meet the minimum safety requirements. If you do not have a security screen and you just have a standard fly screen, your window must be lockable. Now, this could just be a latch on the window, or it could be a retrofitted lock, or it could be a built-in lock to the original fitting of the window. Any of those will make sure that your property is compliant. Essentially, the easiest way to test this is to make sure that your window is not openable from the outside by pushing it open. If you can push open that window, it means your property is not compliant. So just to reiterate, if you have a security screen on your window, it meets the minimum standards. If you don't have a security screen, you need to make sure that that window is lockable, either by way of a deadlock, a lockable built-in lock to the latch, or a latch that actually locks shut. As long as you meet those minimum standards, your property will be compliant and safe for a tenant to live in. I'm just going to show you a video now of what a compliant window looks like, both with a security screen and just with a standard latch fitting. So that was the examples of compliant windows. Now, obviously there's a few little examples where you don't have your standard windows fitted in a property, and one of those could be louvered windows. This is less common these days. However, if you do have louvered windows, there does need to be a lock mechanism that keeps those louvers shut and locked so that they cannot be pushed open from the outside. The same concept applies as what applies to normal windows. It's obviously just a slightly different process of being able to make sure that that's lockable. And then lastly, security lights. There must be a security light fitted to the front of the property, and then that makes your property compliant. So we've covered entry doors, all other external doors to the property, windows and security lights. So it's nice and simple when you break it down and you have an easy understanding of what makes your property security compliant. If you're not sure, please ask your property manager, because it is something that they can check for you at inspections or before they sign your property up for you. You can also find further information online on the DMIRS website, or if you look up Australian standards of security. Hope you found that helpful, and we look forward to bringing you some more updates soon.